9th through 12th should be in the same building. We think that because there will be more money left over for other things such as traveling for sports and show choir. Quoting educationalimpact.com, when 9th grade is separated from 10th, 11th, and 12th, certain courses and equipment must be duplicated, resulting in higher costs than just having grades 9 through 12 together. Also, PWCS is looking at incurring $505 million in debt in the next 5 years because of new school construction. When we have to duplicate the tons of equipment that Waukee has, the money really starts to add up quickly. Waukee is a very fortunate school to have the things that we do. However, it's rough on the district to have 9th grade separated from the high school. Therefore, we have to make budget cuts and your favorite teachers lose their jobs. Also, 9th graders have a higher maturity level than the 8th graders do. Advantages and disadvantages of various grade levels states. Studies on the level of maturity in 9th graders indicate that these students more closely resemble 10th grade students than 8th grade students. From the same article, we found that 9th graders are physically different from 8th graders. 2/3 of the girls and 1/3 of the boys have gone through puberty in 8th grade. However, all or almost all in 9th grade have. Your 9th grade student is too sophisticated for the 8th graders. It's hard on the 9th graders and it forces the 8th graders to grow up way too quickly. Most 9th graders are ready for high school and they don't want to be babied or held back for another year. Finally, the 9th graders have way more opportunity than the 8th graders do. Quoting Mrs. Gillick, the 9th grade counselor at Timberline, at Waukee, 9th graders can do cheerleading, dance teams, soccer, golf, and other clubs such as yearbook. Also, according to WaukeeSchools.org, only licensed freshmen who have a valid documented school permit have parking privileges at Timberline. Speaking from experience, this makes the 8th graders feel left out, unimportant, all because of the attention is focused on the 9th graders. It's also annoying to bring the 9th graders to the high school and it costs money. If 9th graders went to the high school and the 8th graders went to the middle school, it'd be fair, equal, and everyone would have the same opportunity.
Imagine, you're almost done with 8th grade. You're so excited to be a high schooler next year. You can't wait to be treated more like an adult. But then the school board says you're not going to high school next year because they're building a new 8th, 9th building. You want to go with all your friends from the high school. You are excited to play intramural sports with your friends. This has become a harsh reality for kids all over the U.S. So we think that high school should be 9th through 12th because it can save money. Parents and teachers would be less stressed, and teens could increase their social lives.
Building a high school of 9 through 12 would save money. According to Mr. Fleming, a building like ours would cost $20 million for construction and furnishing. That's leaving out education factors like hiring teachers, buying textbooks, computers, and other technology. It costs between $10 million to even about $100 million to build a middle school, depending on how big it is and the quality of the building. If we keep building schools that are like Timberline, we could be wasting money. If we try to put all the 650 plus 9th graders into the high school, there would be an overflow of students. That's why we should build one huge high school that can accommodate all the 9th and 12th graders that are enrolled to a Waukee high school or middle school.
Having schools be 9th through 12th makes better relationships. This could mean less bullying if they're all in one school. People could make better friends and throughout high school. You would have more time to get to know people, so the friends would be made better. In 2012, a survey taken to see how many lower-classmen get bullied on school grounds. The findings were that females were more likely to get bullied on school property, while males were less likely and to get bullied on school property. This shows that having the schools be 9th through 12th would lessen bullying.
You get some time to take that as a minute.
We still have one more.
Oh, you still have one more?
If high schools are 9 through 12, that would mean less stress on teachers and parents. Many families like mine has many family like mine have many kids in different grades and go to different schools. This makes it a challenge because my brothers and I have to go to in early on different days and extra activities. This means that my brother have to take different cars, and this makes it expensive and time consuming. Many parents have to worry about going to other schools and for other students. And even teachers feel this way because many teachers at Timberline have to go over to Prairie View and over their lunch to teach to the other ninth graders. This problem would be eliminated if the ninth graders are all at the same school. The art teacher at Timberline has to go over to Prairie View every day, which is very stressful on teachers. My brother cannot carpool because they start and end at different times of the day. This stress on teachers and parents and students will be eliminated by putting all the ninth and 10th graders in the same school. Can I just read them off?
Yes. That's what I was going to ask. Since you're both on the same side, would you like to take a minute to say, my opponents may say this, but we think this is a stronger argument?
Or do you just want to read what you have?
I'll just read what I have.
That's okay.
Do you care how many I read? Okay. My opponent says ninth graders will get bullied, but we disagree. If you split grades 10 through 12, the 10th graders will be treated just like the ninth graders would have been. Because I have been bullied, and I'm sure you have, and maybe even you. Many people have been bullied. That's life. It's very difficult to prevent, but we cannot let that make us spend millions of dollars on a new school for ninth graders. My opponent says the ninth graders will be exposed to sex, drugs, and alcohol earlier if grades 9 through 12 are all together. But we disagree. Not all ninth graders are sexually active and go to parties with drugs, alcohol, and seniors. Because according to RECAP, a resource center for adolescent pregnancy prevention, almost half of all 12th grade students reported being sexually active compared to almost 20% of ninth grade students. This evidence shows maybe 1 in 5 ninth graders are active out of hundreds of students. In fact, according to RECAP also, the teen pregnancy rate has gone down in high schoolers since the 1990s. Not all of the students at any schools will be going to parties. My brother, Owen Schmidt, is a senior now. When he was in 9th grade, he never hung out with seniors, he never went to parties, and he still doesn't. On New Year's, he went to a friend's house. He told us, if I even smell weed, I'm out and I'm coming home. I'm sure my brother is not the only person who decided to keep himself away from drugs, alcohol, and sex. So let's give the ninth graders a break. They aren't stupid. Therefore, grades 9 through 12 should be in the same building.
I don't say if we were to build one big school, it would get too big. One way we can solve this problem is to end open enrollment. If you know what open enrollment means, it's when a child outside Waukee area can go to Waukee schools. This is one of the reasons why we keep building more and more schools. So if we end open enrollment in Waukee, we can slow the amount of schools we need to build and save some money. And the kids that are already enrolled can stay, but will not allow any kids outside of Waukee to be enrolled.
We know that building one huge high school could cost a lot of money, but did you know it costs $20 million to build a nice school, Timberline? This could be eliminated by just adding on to the high school we already have.
We believe high school buildings should be graded 9 through 12. We have already shown that it will save money for extracurricular activities, we will have more opportunities for the students, and the 9th graders will have higher maturity levels closer to 10th graders. We'd also like to point out how 9th grade has the highest dropout rates according to the Center of Public Education. Roderick in 1993 showed a study where there were two groups. The one applying to this situation is early dropouts. The early dropouts usually quit school between grades 7 through 9. The transition years going from middle school to high school are the hardest for future dropouts because they decide, do they really want to continue their education? Nield in 2006 showed risk factors for dropping out. 9th graders with poor attendance, 70% of the time gone, earn fewer than 2 credits, have only a 1 in 4 chance of graduation in their next years. 9th graders are older, and the 8th graders are most likely to look up to them and basically copy them. We understand that the legal age of dropping out in Iowa is 16. It changes per state, but most students are older than others because they either start earlier or they get held back a year or more. If 9th graders go to the high school building, they would look up to the older students, they see their success, and want to be more like them. Do you really want to risk more than 1/4 of our entire school dropping out because we didn't have the proper influences?
The volume up on our TV, this is one.
This is when, how do you get the volume down? It should just be your music.
No, it's all low.
The speaker at the bottom. Okay, sorry for the glitch.
Yeah.
We'll be reading the closing.
We believe grades 9 through 12 should be all one school because it saves money, eliminates stress, and offers social benefits. Parents with students in grades 9 through 12 affects both students and parents. Parents, do you want to drop off your kid at the high school, then you'll have to drive all the way down to Timberline to drop off your other child in 9th grade? Wouldn't it be less stressful and cost efficient if they went to the same school? The answer is yes. Students, if it affects you because some of you may have friends over at Prairie View, so wouldn't want all your friends all in one place? This is why we think that high school should be 9 through 12 because it saves money, parents and teachers will be less stressed, and students can increase the